Welcome to everybody joining online. Thanks so much. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? I lose
I think
track
so. It was
sometimes.
a long night, Stu. I think it's
It's always look when you're painting up until the last moment before you show the house. Yeah, you're gonna lose a little bit of sleep. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. What we have today is truly groundbreaking, I think, by any definition, but certainly in my experience, what we're going to demonstrate today is something that has been in the works, honestly, for years now. And we're really looking forward to sharing all of it with you. I'd like to just introduce myself. I'm Stuart McClure, CEO of Wethos. And you'll learn a little bit more about me in a minute. But I also want to introduce Darren, who's on the line right now as well. Darren, why don't you do a quick intro?
yeah. Hi, folks. Thanks so much for joining this morning. Darren Thomas, Chief Product Officer of Wethos, and looking forward to showing you alongside Stu what we have in store for you.
Yeah, same here, and just appreciate Darren and all his hard work along with the team and everything that we've done here, and hopefully praying to the live demo gods, everything will go well. Because if you know me at all, you know that I love the live part of the demos. There's nothing canned here; it's all fresh, and we're gonna just test it really quick. All right, so let's see, let's get going here. All right, quick agenda. Honestly, the world is changing, but the AI genie is out. We have to get to know it. We have to use it, leverage it. We have to put the best parts of what AI can do for us to work and to benefit us, not just individually, obviously, but globally. And so people are scrambling right now to figure out ways to do that. I think what we've done here at Wethos is the perfect blend. So obviously we'll love to get that demo to you and get your feedback. The other thing, yeah, jobs are going away, but honestly, not anytime soon. What we're finding as, at least initially, was AI was a solution looking for a problem. But what we're starting to realize is there are some very specific use cases that can be incredibly powerful to making your job just a whole lot easier and for you to be not just 1x, but 1.5x as effective or 2x. We do struggle at work. So blindness in our bias is something that is chronic. And I think that in interacting with AI and having it learn every bit about you, those biases, those unconscious cognitive biases will start to come to light. And I'll start to empower you to be better at what you do. So we're going to talk about that as it relates to me, my bias, my bias, and your bias around me. But all of this, cognitive biases, et cetera, this is what makes us truly unique. And I believe it's at the heart of true creativity in human experience. So we'll talk a bit about that. We're going to show you what happens when you train an AI or an LLM on me, my past, my history, my experiences in life, and then start to ask it questions. Now, why would we do this? Well, to be honest, we believe the future of work and the worker depends on what we're doing here. I really believe it. And who better to deliver on this sort of power than 30-year veterans of cybersecurity, privacy, compliance, and the last 15 years around AI, ethical AI, transparent AI. So this is our goal, this is our mission, and what we've set forth to do. All right, so all of our journey, I think, in AI in the workplace really has to do around automation and leveraging AI to deliver on automation. And I saw this great chart. I'm not taking any credit for this from Bain Capital that really does walk through the states of automation that we've been achieving and where we're at currently. It starts with none, where the worker does all the work. AI maybe is not even really in the picture, but it might be just informational. You might be able to just ask information about random subjects or whatnot. Then there's level 1, which is worker assistance, sort of like robotic process automation, but basically largely rules-based AI. It's maybe just pure algorithmic in nature, by its very nature. Then L2 partial automation. This is where the AI helps a little bit with work, but doesn't do more than just sort of assist the thinking of the individual as an AI assistant. You've probably seen these out in the field today. Third, and where we are at today with Wethos is what they term the AI co-pilot, the ability for AI to actually provide decision support for you, to take in n number of variables of how you're thinking about the world and how you see the world, and build it into the decision making that you come up with. And then ultimately, we want to get into pure, true AI agent to be able to be your full delegate, to act for you, and actually deliver on work. And then finally is full automation, where in theory, none of us will need jobs, have jobs. I don't know how realistic that all is, to be honest with you, in our lifetime, but it is inevitably coming. So I think the question is, how do we coexist in this world and still create, still produce? The human nature is so strong to be able to solve problems, fix, create. I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. All right, so what are we going to do? Jobs are going away forever, right? I just don't think that that's the case whatsoever. I think a great paper just came out from McKinsey. I don't often quote McKinsey. They tend to have a lot of very long reports that me and my learning style do not work well with. But this was a great report talking about how, in essence, the companies that don't implement and integrate AI won't be around in 20, 30 years. And that really is the crux of it all. And so they talk about how we can start to integrate all this stuff. I highly recommend you take a peek at it. All right, so how do we transform the workplace with AI? That's really the crux of the talk today. So let's just dive right in. So some of you, or many of you, might know me, or you think you know me. My educational background is psychology, philosophy, computer science, and of course, serial entrepreneurship. I've started many companies you'll see down below, some of which have acquired my companies. And then the three companies that I'm the CEO of today are Wethos, Quiet AI, an AI AppSec company, and Number One AI, which is an AI incubator, builds new AI companies. So the question inevitably I always get is, how can you possibly be the CEO of three companies? That seems impossible. And, in some days, I must be honest, I think to myself, it is maybe impossible. But I'm going to show you what I do, what I leverage, and how I think the future of work and how you're going to leverage AI to do more with more, not more with less. But how do you know me? This is the frame. This is the precept, right? So it often makes me think about The Breakfast Club, right? One of the most, quintessential movies of our time, certainly for anybody born in that era. But even today with my kids, I have 4. Ultimately, everybody sees everybody as they want to see them, in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions. And in the movie, that's the way they saw each other at 7 a.m. that morning. But that's not how they ended the day. And he recognized we were brainwashed. And that's exactly what we all are. We're brainwashed with our cognitive biases that have been trained over years or decades to help us survive this world, but end up getting in the way of true efficiency and effectiveness. So who is Stu really? Who am I really? Well, to know me really, you'd have to look back in my past and my experiences. There's my mom with me in the only race that I won where she came to the race. So I was super, super happy. And it was one of those days where there was no way I was going to lose, even though I was racing against far stronger competitors than my father, who, yes, the good-looking gene skipped my generation. I think it went down to my kids. He was a good-looking guy. And then a simple little high school prom picture. But in the center, shortly thereafter, actually, was an experience on a United Flight 811, where the cargo door opened in mid-flight under pressurization and pulled seats and people out, of which a number of seats were offered to us for upgrades. So that was a pivotal element of my upbringing and what I've experienced in my life. But then my kids, my family, this all really is the center of who I am, but no one gets to see any of that. So let's boil it down to the core problem. Yes, we've got cognitive bias. We don't really understand each other. We don't know your traits, their traits, anybody's real strengths. We have to learn it over time. And yet we spend a third of our lives at work, and we don't know each other. We really don't. And we need to leverage AI to help us in the workplace augment, enhance, up-level ourselves. We need to work, produce, and create at scale. Leadership needs AI. I mean, how many times have you said, gosh, my managers just don't get it, or my leaders just don't get it. You know, they're not doing A, B, C, D, whatever it might be, that you need to understand where you're going, what you're doing. Well, how can they possibly know what you need? There's no interface. There's no connective tissue. So leadership needs AI even more so. And humans are complex. There's just no two ways about it. And I think one of the only technologies and platforms that we've come to at this point to allow us to figure this out is true AI. So the field that we are in, just to remind everybody, is really what I think of as business tech, the future of work. This is where people need to come together with a single platform and a single mindset and mission initiative to work together at their highest performance. And the only way to leverage all of the talents inside of a company is truly with AI. All right, so one of the theses that we often get to believe in our lives is that, well, people are unpredictable. We're all super unpredictable. There's no way we can predict how you're going to think or how you're going to answer a question, etc. But the truth is, when you understand the elements of an individual, you understand their behavioral traits, you understand their cognitive biases or their tendencies, their shortcuts in life, in its near infinite permutations of combinations, if you understand that, you really do understand the person. You understand how they will generally respond, how they'll generally answer questions. And that's exactly what we have with Wethos Copilot. So as part of the Wethos platform, you get access into our Wethos Copilot that understands each person individually and within the confines of the workplace, okay? And your natural styles of doing work, from coming up with ideas and working with people to taking action and building structure and organization in your life and far beyond. We measure this in real time and on an ongoing basis because we all change, we evolve, we mature, and you want to continue to measure all of this so that we understand who you are and what you need at every single moment. And being able to do this in a platform that's truly driven by intelligence from the core AI. Ultimately, what the immediate ROIs are with this kind of a platform is an almost immediate increased productivity, efficiency, decreased training costs, reduced absenteeism, one of my favorite, right? So, and sort of increased presenteeism, which is sort of a funny word to say, but like looking for people, getting people present, engaged, leaning forward in the meeting, challenging thoughts and beliefs. This is going to be a big part of the benefits of Wethos here going forward. Obviously, all of that produces all kinds of things like cost savings and revenue growth and employee engagement satisfaction, so attrition reduction. So what can Wethos do today if you're on the platform? Well, obviously, it's an incredible coach, understands you and understands everybody else on the platform to coach you, to work together better, to collaborate better, to communicate better, to conflict resolve better, but to create. You've got a problem, you've got a challenge, you've got something that you need to build from scratch. It can help you do all of that. And then, of course, manage people, manage expectations, manage their needs, and get everybody working together. All right, so with that, I'm going to do a quick demo of Wethos just as it stands today, and then we're going to talk about how we can leverage the future of AI and understanding people. All right, so if you were to go into the Wethos dashboard quickly, you can see a quick assessment of who you are and where you sort of sit in the sort of kaleidoscope of workers out there. And you can see and orient yourself to this horizontal line here. Anything above the line tend to be oriented toward traits that are oriented towards abstraction, and anything below the line tend to be those traits that are oriented towards concreteness. And as you can see, for me and my scores, I am largely an abstract-minded individual, and this is super helpful for me. I can also look at a scientific graph where you can see where I plot onto these 4 metrics. But you have 4 qualities or traits or groups of traits, and then you have sort of a 5 scale between abstract and concrete. So super helpful to understand yourself, but you can also scroll into understanding more about yourself through real-time descriptions of your positive attributes, maybe your negative attributes, and then each category inside of that to really understand yourself better. But where it gets powerful is where you can bring in teams. You can bring in multiple people, start to understand where they all sit inside of your efforts and endeavors. And then this is almost more important. Well, where are the gaps in your team? Where's the cognitive diversity that's needed to be truly effective in what you're doing? So we'll measure things like team bias, decision fatigue, planning fallacy here, but also we measure cognitive diversity. And we look for people that are the outliers, almost the anchors that you need. You desperately need these folks inside of this group to balance everything out. Otherwise, it's going to be an echo chamber. Of course, you have things like project teams, but you can also work together with somebody else. So I can pull up somebody like Darren, and I can ask, simple questions like, hey, we need to build a boat together. How do we work this out? And it will provide not just the guidance around how best to work with Darren, but specifically what task would be most appropriate given Darren's experience, background, and mine as well. But really where it gets interesting is inside of the Wethos Copilot that's in there today. So if I were to take, let's say, a simple thing like what kind of people would challenge me based on my Wethos scores, for example. All right. So here are some potential challenges based on who I am and the others in my team. So my strengths, but also some challenges. Others might find your abstract ideas too difficult to grasp. I've discovered this in my life. Some folks need just more detail and they just can't get to those ideas. And quite honestly, I don't have the details. So the onus and responsibility is on me to come forward to try and get more details wrapped around those big ideas so some people could come along the way. For me, I'm a relational 3, so I might encounter people who find my approach too analytical or detached, like they need more emotion from me or more feeling. And these are all super powerful ways to understand yourself. Here we go. Here's one that I like. So what are the challenges for me in being a strong leader? All right. So looking at it quickly, right, between ideas and relational, you can see here are some areas that I need to really focus on. Hey, balancing vision and practicality. I get this a lot. Communicate effectively. This is always a journey, trying to find the perfect way to articulate the concept that's in my brain to the audience that's receiving it. Navigating diverse emotions. This is something that's always really tricky in a team dynamic. Delegating effectively, giving people responsibility, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are all super powerful ways, but we can also have a little fun here too. I can come in here and I can say, hey, I'm having a conflict with Darren. What do I need to think about when navigating these challenges, right? So it can give me very specific recommendations and guidances around, hey, if I'm starting to butt heads with Darren on a concept, how do I get around it? So I can see it really quickly, right? So for effective communication, focus on active learning. So if you talk to anybody that knows me well, my active listening is horrible. I really have a hard time concentrating and focusing on the present moment with one or more people, especially if it's a long-winded discussion, like where there's just a lot of words being used. So I have to really, really focus, and I have some tricks and tips that I use to try and improve that. But also I could use things like I statements, right? And expressing my feelings with Darren, which would help relate him to me much better. seek common ground. So all these sort of powerful techniques that we can use. Now here's a really tricky one. I'm going to just jump to this last one here to show you. Now let's say that I have a product, and I used to at Silence, that used to run right on the desktop of every endpoint out there. And let's say that, and we had our own fair share of challenging moments, but let's say we had like a catastrophic outage for our customers. And I wanted to leverage what Wethos knows about me, what it knows about a catastrophic outage and a crisis, and help me in that moment where I might not be thinking clearly about how to react and respond. Help me send or create an email that might help our customers know that we're there with them. We're here to go fix it quickly, and we'll make sure this never happens again. So I can actually probe Wethos and start to ask about that specific case and get an email. So content generation can be really, really powerful. So here it is. I'm writing to you today with deepest sincerity and regret to apologize. So really come forward and own it. Hey, I'm sorry, we screwed up. We're going to look at the root causes. We're going to make some changes, and we're going to fix it so this doesn't ever happen again. So a real quick and easy way to just leverage the power of what we have in our product today and get to some real tangible output. Now, something we're going to announce tomorrow is our global launch of the WethosAI mobile app. So everything I showed you, or just about everything I showed you in our main web app, will be present inside of the mobile app that you can play with and learn all on your own, on your phone. And that's super exciting for us, and look forward to getting your feedback on that. Okay, now the reason probably why most of you came was to really understand what can we do? What are the limits of what we can do here on training an LLM on an individual or more people, and get benefit and value out of all of that. Okay, so the genesis behind it all is that, as we talked earlier, self-awareness matters. Understanding yourself, who you are, what makes you tick, but what are the limitations that you have. Understand the bias that drives you unconsciously every single day. Understanding each other is really important. But the question was, and the challenge was, hey, can an LLM be trained enough on enough dimensions of self to digitally represent that self with high degree of trust and confidence? So what we did was we took every article that's been written about me, every article or book that I've ever written, et cetera, to see what we can get done. And that's what we did. So if you recall, I've been writing in the public domain for many years. I've had a lot of articles written about me and interviews of me. I've written a lot of books, but I also included memories, so life memories of myself as best that I could. I included the Wethos style, of course. I included my LinkedIn profile and CV. I even threw in some song preferences just to see what we could get. So what the core capabilities are showing for us, and I'm going to demo it in just a second, is knowing self, sharing self, growing self allows you to do all of this, to really engage and understand yourself and others, to communicate effectively, to create together uniquely. Actually, critically thinking and decision-making can come into play here as well. And then, of course, collaboration, team composition, all the above. All right, so now let's get to it. So live StuBot demo, please pray to the demo gods here. All right, so what I have here is a variant. Now, this is not in production today, but we are probably weeks away from launching this to our user base. We've got a few things to make sure we're delivering on, but we can simply jump ahead on one of the killer questions to ask here, which is, hey, just help me out. The real Stuart McClure is putting on a webinar right now, StuBot. I'm showing the audience how you know Stuart so well that you can answer questions as the real Stuart would. Give me a question that will blow the audience away. So we can just ask it real quick, simply, hey, just help me out. Let's figure out what is the best way to demonstrate what we do here today. All right, Stuart, can you describe? Here we go. So, Stuart, can you describe the pivotal moment on United Flight 811 that shaped your perspective on life and influenced your approach to entrepreneurship and risk taking? So let's let that go. All right. So you can engage, in essence, in any way with yourself, but by sharing, by trusting that trained LLM on you, you can now share it with others. You can allow them and their AIs to now start to engage. So the answer here, right? The pivotal moment on United Flight 811 was a life-altering experience, etc. The importance of prevention and embracing unpredictability. This is probably one of the key, things that came out of my experience and all of that was it's just nothing's predictable. So just embrace it. Mission-driven focus and having a purpose and resilience and risk-taking. All right. Now, all of this might be super stressful for me. I might have like a high cognitive load during the day. So I could ask it, hey, what could you do for me to make my life easier, right? Every day. Because that's in essence what we're trying to do. We're trying to build an AI agent or delegate of ourselves that allows us to focus our brain power on the non-mundane, the non-everyday. So here we go. Information management, meeting preparation, decision support, communications drafting, task prioritization, market analysis, talent insights, all of it, stress management, all of this is just phenomenal. I'm hoping that you're
Stu, I think
to see that all of this is
Stu, you're cutting, I think. Stu? Okay. We can see you, but we can't hear you. All right, I think, yeah, okay. We lost him. The good news is I've done a lot of these demos before, so I'm used to tap dancing. So let's just wait for Stu to come back. And actually, I might not need to tap dance quite as much as I previously had to, because maybe we can just go on and start talking to the virtual Stu. So, all right, let's tell him what happened. Let's say the reel you just glitched out during the webinar. What are some questions I can ask you to know you better while we wait? All right, let's see. Let's see what the virtual Stu has to say here, and then we can take a look at this this list that Stu's generating. And okay, well, why don't we ask that that first one here? So, okay, well, what inspired you to start WethosAI? And once again, this is trained on Stu, so we can take a look here and see how his virtual bot is going to respond. So that's pretty interesting that he talks about the inspiration, and we spoke about we can generate illustrations, image boards about this, but maybe I actually want to hear from Stu himself. So let's see what he has to say.
As a leader in technology and cybersecurity, I've always been fascinated by the impact of team dynamics on organizational success. WethosAI was born from my desire to quantify and optimize these human factors, leveraging the power of AI to unlock untapped potential within teams. I saw an opportunity to apply cutting-edge technology to the field of organizational psychology, creating tools like the Wethos Style TM framework to help businesses understand their team dynamics, improve productivity, and ultimately boost their bottom line. WethosAI is about revolutionizing the way we work, fostering better understanding, communication, and collaboration in the workplace.
Okay, so now let's ask maybe about me and Stu. So given my ethos style of 5541, how can you and I best collaborate together on driving? Okay, So let's see what Virtual Stu has to say about this. So it obviously knows his style. It knows how, or the StuBot knows, and our platform knows how to interpret minds. So once again, let's just hear from Stu.
I'm excited about our complementary Wethos styles. Your high ideas and relational scores, combined with my high ideas and action scores, create a powerful dynamic. We'll be great at brainstorming, building relationships, and driving projects forward. While your lower order score brings flexibility, my slightly higher score provides structure. We'll need to communicate openly about our preferences for organization versus freedom to find a balance that works for both of us. By leveraging our strengths, we can create a dynamic partnership that drives Wethos forward with innovation, strong relationships, decisive action, and adaptability.
Okay, so in essence, I can now talk to this virtual bot. So I can ask Stu really anything and have it respond as if it was Stu, both in text format or for more kinetic learning, through illustration, through storyboarding, but also through voice, as you've heard come through. So this is kind of our first segue into this realm of having this fully realized digital twin and virtual delegate that you can use within the workplace and during different scenarios at work. So I think we're still waiting for him to come back in. But there were some questions, I think, on the audience. There's one about bikes, I think. So what is your opinion of electric bikes? I think that one came from, who did that one come in from? Oh, it looks like Carbon Stu is back. We're just asking your virtual lots of questions from the chat. Yeah, you're back, Stu.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was horrible. I was off for so long I couldn't get back on. Guys, what did you guys do?
I've got some good news and bad news for you.
Okay.
So the good news is we started engaging with the virtual Stu, and it answered superbly, and you weren't missed. The bad news is we started engaging with your virtual Stu, and it answered superbly, and you weren't missed.
Do you even need me on this thing? Honestly,
I'm not sure.
You might not. I mean, the responses are probably better than I would have given anyway, right? So let's see. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay.
So we had some about e-bikes. We had some about you and I working together.
Right.
We understood your inspiration for starting Wethos. We had some images generated.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like having you in the room, Stu.
All right. Well, good. Well, maybe I should just go home and go take a nap. All right. Well, thanks. Well, let me share back here and see if I can finish this sucker strong. To me, that is probably the best way to demonstrate everything that we have been able to achieve and accomplish here at Wethos. We're super excited about it. We'd love to turn it back to you, though. In your Q&A, you can ask any question that you'd like for me to ask StuBot to see how real it really is and how well it knows me. So if you guys can take a moment and go ahead and send it into the Q&A.
We got a couple cooking there, Stu, at the moment. I did the electric bike one. There's one from Rahul, which is what is a period in history. Would you want to go back to?
Oh, okay. So let's try that. Okay, so what period? This is a great question. What period in history would you like to go back to, and why? I've never asked this question before, so this will be fun. All right. Early evolution of humankind. Specifically, the moment the first evidence of civilization emerged. Absolutely. The period fascinates me because it marks a crucial turning point in human history. The moment we began to work together and care for each other. The specific event I'd want to witness is related to the discovery of the oldest healed femur bone in anthropological records, dating back approximately 2 million years. So think about this for a second. The first healed femur bone dated 2 million years ago, not 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, 2 million. So what does a healed femur bone tell us, right? If a femur bone breaks 2 million years ago and you don't have a civilization to take care for you, like people, friends, a community, you will die, right? So it really is one of the best examples of true teamwork, civilization, and everything else wrapped into one community. Let's see if we can get a nice proper image. All right, what other questions we got here? Let's see. Oh, okay. So this is a general question. Let's see.
You've got one. Have you got one, Stuart? Otherwise, one's just come in from Sean.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is your spirit animal?
Oh, good question. What is your spirit animal?
And then we've got another one in the Q&A.
Okay. Yeah, I've not
Actually, you're going to love the one in the Q&A. Just a second.
Oh, look at this. The image gen. It's with, unfortunately, it looks like they're in the fire itself, but somebody is injured and it looks like somebody's tending to a leg. Fascinating. Okay, the spirit animal is the eagle. Okay, well, let's do an illustration. Why? Well, eagles have incredibly sharp eyesight. All, glasses to the contrary. I think it means more, non-physically. Leadership, adaptability, resilience, innovation, independence, and calculated. All right, I love it. What else?
There's one in the Q&A. I'm just going to modify slightly from Edward Preston that says, what would you call the roadshow that Wethos will use to market and evangelize the power and value of Wethos to the world? So maybe we could have, StuBot recommend that. Let's see.
So what would you call the roadshow that Wethos, say it again?
What would you call the roadshow that Wethos will use to market and evangelize the power and value of Wethos to the world?
It's a great idea. See, you don't even need me anymore. The Ethos Evolution Tool.
There you go.
Unleashing team potential. Love it.
All right. Nice.
All right.
Nice.
The name captures several key aspects. Ethos, evolution, unleashing. Yes, this is brilliant. Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Actually, from an anonymous saying, oh, great. Really love what we showed today. Would love to come and work with us at Wethos. How should they prepare for an interview with you?
Okay. So let's see. If someone wants to work with me here at Wethos, what is the best way to prepare for an interview?
Oh, and there's a couple of great ones lining up as well in chat for you.
Okay. All right, here we go. Research Wethos thoroughly. Understand our mission, products, and science behind our approach. Familiarize yourself with AI and team performance concepts. Prepare examples of your problem-solving skills. Be ready to discuss your own Wethos style. It's a good one. Demonstrate your passion for improving workplace culture. Be prepared to share examples of how you worked in diverse teams. Share your ability to think strategically in the big picture. Be authentic and open. That's really important. Come with thoughtful questions and be ready to discuss how you handle failure and learn from mistakes. Yeah, that's one of the keys.
We got a great one from Dan. What is the most challenging Wethos style for you to work with?
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it would probably be largely my opposites. Not always, though, because sometimes it's a combination. All right, so based on my understanding of Wethos styles and team dynamics, the most challenging Wethos style to work with often depends on your own style and context at work. However, generally speaking, styles, okay, here we go. If someone has a very high idea score and a very low order score, they might be challenging for someone with the opposite profile to work with. The high ideas person may constantly generate new concepts and change direction, while the high order person prefers structure and predictability. So that's true. So low order, I struggle with low order folks. A person with very high relational scores, so people that are very much people first versus data and facts, with someone who has a very low relational score, that's the obvious one. Yeah, that's a great one. Here, let me ask you, I'm going to force it though. I'm going to say, what specific Wethos scores would be most challenging for you? Because I like to see how the scores relate. I don't know what it'll say, but any other questions that we have?
Yeah, we got a couple more if we've got a few minutes with
time for one more maybe.
With folks. Okay, so
here we go. So ideas of 1, relational 5. So Darren, you and I mean, we know this, right? Yep. Action of 1 and an order of 5. These are the most challenging for me. Yeah, as it would be for some.
Stu, let's see if we can get 2, because there's two great.
All right, let's go.
One is from Douglas Wilson. How can my StuBot take over work I'm doing today? And then we got a great one from Ryan that we can maybe conclude with.
Okay.
So we'll see what this one comes back with.
And then what was the next one? I'll take
Ryan's one is, okay, you're going to like this one. What type of painting would you draw, only taking your order scale as a factor?
Okay, so let's read this next one though. How can StuBot take over work that I do today? Okay, information management, meeting prep, communication drafting, task prioritization, market analysis, decision support, talent insights, and personal development. That's great. All right, what type of painting would you draw, taking only your order scale as a factor? Based on my order scale, which is a 2, if I were to create a painting that reflects this style, it would likely be an abstract or impressionist piece. That's great, because it's one of my favorite styles. Oh my God. Okay, I think we need to put this on canvas and put it up on the wall. I don't know if my wife's watching, but I might have to sneak it in. I think that's fantastic. But the painting would probably feature loose fluid brushstrokes, a focus on overall impact, blah, blah, blah. All right, look, we are dead up onto the line. I just want to sort of finish here and tell you that, we're just getting started with all this. If you had to answer that first question, how do you manage being a CEO of 3 different companies at the same time? I leverage AI. That's what I do. And that's what we're going to be doing more and more and more of. So what can it do today versus tomorrow? Tomorrow, we'll be able to manage people and teams, take action with agents, problem solve, critical think, troubleshoot, maybe even replace me, maybe replace managers. But here are the 2 really important parts. Privacy and security are just critical. There's no better team than to deliver on that inside the world of the future of work than the cybersecurity team that I've assembled here to build Wethos. And we have to think about the ethics and limitation of this every single day. I drive this in the team as consciousness in everything that we do. We have to be responsible, transparent, ethical, auditable at a minimum. And I don't know what the limitations are, to be honest with you. I just don't know. So with that, thank you so much. And we hope to see you at our next webinar, which maybe will have me as the presenter and maybe not. We'll see. All right. With that, thank you, Darren. Thank you, team. Thanks everybody that pulled all this together to show the audience. Really appreciate everybody's hard work. And now we can have a coffee. All right.
Sounds good.
Everybody. Cheers.
Thanks all.
All right. Bye.